Okay, so today, as we discuss, we are going to understand uh, the basic about the application, right? What is the apps? What is the applications? What is the software, right? All the things, whatever you're doing. Okay, and we are also going to understand the basic building blocks or basic things about this application. You can say software. You can say uh, anything you can say. Nowadays, you can say applications, yeah, app, yeah, software, yeah, server, or client, something. So let's first understand about the basic what we are going to start this new chapter. Okay, so our objective, we are going to, as a user, as a customer, I want to interact with some software, right? As a I'm a user, I want to interact with some kind of a software. Software can be a server. Software is a machine with some interactive response they can give us. Okay,
Right.
two concepts you have to understand. One is the user. One is the user. You can say customer. You can say client. You can say the same terminology. You can say, and something we are going to use. You are going to access, like maybe application you can say, or you can say server you can say, or app you can say, or software you can say. Now, one user are going to use one particular software, right? Or one a customer or one client can interact with the server, or interact with the application, or interact with the any kind of the purpose. Question is that why customer are interacting to the particular software, right?
Right.
Because they have want to do something, want to some help. Maybe as a we are many times using software, maybe Google Map, to just figure out ki, taking help ki where the particular map, what is the particular distance, what is the weather condition, right? So
Right.
these are users need some kind of help from this software. Or here, software you can assume like another person. Let's see, I want to travel from one place to another place. I don't know the route, so I can take help from whatever the nearest my person. Hey, I ask, hey, can you help me to guide where is this particular address, right?
Right.
If the particular person available, you can ask them, and if he know, he can reply you, right? Similarly, if I am a customer, I want, let's think, where is the today particular event happening, what the times, what is the location, how I can travel. So what we have a nearest things I can ask. Maybe nearest things I have in my mobile. I have in my particular software. So I have a mobile. I want to take the help of my mobiles, and I want to find the nearest location of particular XYZ. So I have to interact some kind of software, Google Apps, Google browser, a particular Chrome, anything, right? So question is that here, whenever as a user you are interacting to the particular software, particular applications, that means just understand this is the one user are asking some user for need some data, need some specific response, right? So similarly, in the real life, like user one talk to another user, means user one ask question and user two reply answer, right? In this way, whatever the my curiosity I can get. Similarly, in the case of software industries, we have a two party. One is your user. They have some questions. They ask question. Another side, another party might be one user or one customer, one my parent, one my teacher, one my colleague, one my business, anything. They can respond me my question, right? You ask your question and they respond your answer. So similarly, same thing Here, user 1 can ask question to user 2 reply answer. So this concept just map in the software industries as a programmer. This is your client code and this is your server code. The client is asking some question to the server and you are responding back to your answer, right? So this is known as your customer, client, or anything. Which are providing your answer known as a software or service provider. So instead of saying user, here you can use a specific terminology, service provider and service consumer. Right now, terminology you can say, hey, this is a service. This is a service provider. They can provide the service, and this is the service consumer who can consume the service. Means consumer is going to ask question and service providers provide your answer, right? Is it
Right.
clear? What is
Yeah.
the service provider? What is the service consumer? So here, service provider means like maybe server, maybe software, maybe application, anything you can say. Here, service consumer might be you can say user, you can say customer, you can say client, you can say mobile, my mobile, or anything, right? Which from where user can just request. So here in human life, generally we ask questions, right? To the another, my teacher, my parent, my father, and we are expecting answer, right? As a child,
Right.
as a child asking question to his parent, and parents responding to answer. So this is the general terminology like questions and answer. So what software industry say? Instead of question, they say, hey, you say request and you say response. Right? That just terminology change. Our customer, our software say, I am requesting a particular data and server is responding particular data, right? So finally here in the case of our child and parent relationship, child asking questions, you are responding. Similarly, in the case of your software industry, our clients are requesting some data and you are responding. Software is responding, server is responding data, right? So, question is that here have to understand these two entities you can understand. This is the one, your service provider, one is your service consumer. That's good. Question is that ki, where this exists and where this exists. What are the location? In the real life, I, my child, or your child is physically located in your area, right? In your house, in your room. Then you can ask question. What happened in your room? No one exists. How you can call? How you can ask question? Let us example. Currently, I am in the room single. So I have some question. So how can I ask? Surely I can ask. I cannot ask. But nowadays, due to the era of technology, I have my mobile. I can make a mobile call to the particular XY person, right?
Mm.
And I can ask my question, and he can reply. Even I can listen. That means even I am individual. I can ask my question. I can get my reply using the help of some communication tool, right? Some so we required some communication tool here in our real life. Here is the mobile as my communication tool. Similarly, let's example, this is my software consumer, this is my software producer. If they want to talk to here and receive some response, then they need some kind of your communication tool, right? So lots of communication tool. Instead of saying journal tool, we are using the protocol. Yes, what things say in the software terminology, you can say protocol. Which protocol used to communicate one software to another software? Yeah, one user to another user. So this is the protocol known as. Might be you know this is terminology protocol. Protocol I have a maybe HTTP protocol, SSH protocol, TCP protocol, UDP protocol. Lots of protocols we have. While protocol is the one mechanism from where one machine talk to another machine, right? It's clear? What is the protocol?
Yeah.
Protocol is used to communicate one machine to another machine. Like in the case of your mobile want to communicate to another mobiles, they are using some communication protocol. Here you are using just dial the number and particular customer, particular friends, you are receiving a response, right? Internally, they are using some protocol to communicate from one device to another device. Because here you are using the one machine, mobile is a one electronic device, and this person also have a one mobile is a device. Then you can communicate one device to another device. So similarly, in the computer system, all the things you can talk about mobile or and software, always you talk about the machines or the device. This is the computer you can say, mobile you can say, any browser you can say, all are the your electronics device are communicate to another device, right? So whenever one electronics device communicate to another electronics device, they need follow some rules. That rules known as a protocol. How I can communicate to you, how I can talk to you. Let us good example. How I am able to talk to you, how you are able to understand, because both of you we follow some rules of the English language, so that whatever I am speaking, you are able to listen, right? Similarly, this machine want to talk to this machine, and this machine responds something. How it's possible? Because this machine follow some rule, this machine follow some rule, then both can understand. Here in our communications, we are following the rule of English grammar, English terminology, so that you can understand what I am speaking and you are responding, then I can understand what you are asking.
Right.
Similarly, in the case of mobile device, in the case of computer, computers are talk to another computer. That means they follow the certain rules.
Right.
These rules are communication channel. This communication channel knowledge here protocol. We have a lots of protocol like HTTP is a very common used protocol, right?
It's like
HTTP,
it's like
TCP,
the message package. How
right,
the message is transported.
right, right.
My
Great,
question and the answer I back.
right. So great. So here, whatever that we are going to build about the applications, here I'm building my one applications. This is my one application and deploy on the particular my server. Okay, this is the one client. Maybe client can be mobile, client can be another laptop, client can be another browser. They can talk to the my software provider, right? And they are
Right.
respond. So they are talking using some protocol. Okay, using some protocol. Protocol is just set of rule, right? Protocol means
Right.
ki how you can talk to the my server, how you can talk to the my server, how you can talk to the my server. So this is known as follow the protocol. So we are following the standard protocol HTTP. So whenever we talk about the client and server architect, this is the one you can say this is the one architecture. This terminology, this side known as a this is my client and this side known as my server. Okay, and client communicate to the server. This is the client server architecture via the protocol, maybe HTTP protocol, FTP protocol, SNET protocol, lots of protocol, right? So whatever we are going to the develop as a client server architecture. This is known as a client server architecture. Client means your your mobile is a client, your
Right.
browser is a client, you as a client consider because you are using these tools, right? And you are talking to the one server. Server means ki from where you want to think my question can be addressed. Why you are
Right.
asking something Google, something Google Chat, something ABC? Because you are expecting this is the place, this is the person where I can expect response, right?
Right.
So this terminology, communication between request and response happen by this channel, by this protocol. So whenever we are developing applications, we are going to talk. Uh, Protocol means HTTP, request means ki question, response means your answer. So finally, the purpose of software to answer your question. So here
Right.
question means request, answer means response. Not means just the different terminology as a software industry we use, right? So we are going to think how I can request to server, okay? Request to server, and how I can receive response from server, right? So both things we are going to develop. First, we are going to develop one server. Server means my applications, and we have to also develop kind of a clients. We can ask question and get response, right? So generally, for this understanding, we are going to here, we are not going to the building this client code. We are using the inbuilt code. Maybe we are using the browser, okay? Our a Google browser, a Chrome browser, where we can send request to the my server, right? And server is responding my question and answer, right?
Hmm.
Here for client, we are not going to building any, we are not going to write in a Chrome software, or we can use the existing browser as a my client to request. Generally, whenever we're going to access any restaurant, we are using the browser to request the data. So generally same, I am going to here using the our HTTP browser. Browser is the, what is the browser? You say Google Chrome is the browser. This is the one channel they are request your data by HTTP channel, HTTP protocol to the server, right? So whenever I'm opening a Google Chrome browser, I say google.com, yeah, yahoo.com. The via this HTTP protocol, your request travel to the Yahoo server, Google server, Google Map server, ABC server, right? The our Chrome or browser, lots of tools available. You can use the Google Chrome, might be our Postman, might be even the curl API, yeah, command line tools you can do, right? But
Right.
internally, all they are using this HTTP protocol, HTTPS protocol to transfer your request to the specific server. Okay.
Right.
So here, good example. Question is that ki I am a one person. I am talk to the another person. Okay. Notice in this class, lots of person in this your area, lots of people, right? Lots of people. Question is that I have a one question. So from which person you are going to talk, you have to decide, right? You have to decide ki I am going to talk this person, this person, this person, or this person. How to talk, right? Because I have a one question in my mind. Let us today, you want today ki what is the current weather of my city? And for weather responding, lots of application. So you have to choose ki which from which application I am going to serve my request, right? So whenever you are going to use any software, first you have to choose the specific person where you want to communicate. Here instead of person, you say a specific server or a specific software, like a specific company where you are going to communicate. So whenever we are going to communicate via Google Chrome, you have to type something, IP address or host name like google.com, yahoo.com, abcd.com. So whenever you are typing, your HTTP is a protocol, and then google.com, the Google is your service provider. So from this protocol HTTP, okay, you want to communicate, this is the Google server. So you are communicate to the Google server, not other server. So whenever our browser, you can say http.google.com, http.yahoo.com, firefox.com, abcd.com. That means as user, I am just telling, I am just info, I want to communicate the specific server. Because in internet, millions of software are running. Millions of people means applications are hosted. And you choose which application you are going to use, right? So for that, we are using the protocol HTTP, and you can specify your particular application, maybe IP address, yeah, host name, and then you can say the specific request you want to ask a question. So whenever you are going to ask a question, you have to follow the pattern like your HTTP, the protocol which you are used to communicate, and
Mhm.
next you are say, hey, this is the my server. This is maybe local host, Google host, ABC, where my application hosted, right? And after that,
Right.
what is your question? So whenever client as a user, you are going to request to the server, you have to follow certain rule. First, your protocol, maybe HTTP protocol, right? HTTP protocol, right? Then your the server detail, host name, IP address, from which you are going to ask question, right? And then your question. So this is clear. Whenever your
Yeah.
browser, or you opening the browser and calling the particular request, so this pattern you have to follow: your protocol name, your server name, your host name, your IP address, and then your question. What question you want?
This is the
Then
regular formula that we
formula.
follow.
This is the
Yeah.
communication rule.
Communication
Okay.
rules. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So notice whenever I here I can open my Chrome browser. Okay. Here's a google.com. Notice. So here I this page is served by your Google server. Notice this is the if you notice this is the HTTPS protocol slash this is my Google. And here I'm not asking any question. Maybe just I want to open the Google Chrome main page, right? So this is your protocols you following, right?
Right.
So similarly, whenever we are going to develop applications, we are following some rules. So whenever this is a very basics. Whenever I am going to develop one server, one application, and my client means my browser, are going to call them, they have to follow this pattern. Which pattern? HTTP, your server name, your question, right? So this is very standard. You can understand HTTP. So you cannot going to understand this. This is HTTP protocol complete the one syllabus and huge details, right? So we're not
Right.
going to deep detail those things. Maybe later part we'll discuss. But focus is that how my applications, how I as a communicate my the develop software. Okay. So now we are going to
Right.
build. Hey, I am going to build this software, and I want to response. Simple. So this is a
Right.
very basic going to develop. But why we are discussing lots of things? So it should clear how our software work, right? Whenever we are going to develop the applications, all the things is automatically happen. Even you cannot realize this is happening. Nowadays, all the human users are using lots of application, mobile application, but they are not aware how it's work, right? So here only my understanding. I am building one software. I am building one applications. My app application. Okay. So how it works? How my clients who are user are going to communicate, right? So here some specific terminology you have to understand. This is the client. This is the request, and this is the response. Request response come on the particular channel. Is a protocol that is HTTP, right? So this is the specific protocol. Now let's talk about we learning as a Java language, right? Java language. So this as a Java language, how we can implement all the things, right? This is the
Right.
request, this is the response, our server, our client, right? So for Java, Java defines some rule. Hey, Java defines some standard things. Okay, how you can develop. So almost all the things already are placed. We have to just understand how we are going. So whenever we are going to, so for that, for building applications, Java is given some rules and regulations, some guidelines. You have to follow this. This is known as your the which topics are going to understand JAX-WS or JAX-RS. This is the JAX-RS. What do you mean by here? JAX means Java is you can say a specification for services, or services can be the web services or REST services. Both are the things, right? So
REST API. REST.
REST API you can say. So here now we come actual talk about this services. So now here I am going to say this is my service, and this is my service client, a consumer. Okay. So here we are going to build what service. Service means maybe uh, generally talks about the web service. Web service means web service. Web service means this service can be accessible via the web. Web means web browser from your Chrome, from Google, from mobile, right? The web terminology means you can get my service from your browser.
Right.
Nowadays, all the laptops, all the mobile have available this browser concept. Services means we have some business logics. If you want, you ask question, my server can reply you. Simple
On a browser.
on a browser. Okay, this is the basic purpose. Because nowadays our applications are generally used by this question. Next two question. Whenever you are develop any software, this is the one software, or you can develop one server or develop one application. This application have a possible two kind of user. Kind of two kind of user. One is the human user, right? One is the human user. One user can be possible another application itself, right? So you have developed one application. This application can serve the purpose of two category of people. One is the human, anyone like I, you can access. Sometime instead of I, why not my one software, one another software can access use the software, right? So possibly whenever you are developing any software, that software can be used by your human itself or can be used by another application. Maybe this application used by this another user. Another user say, hey, I want to this data. This is going to find, hey, give me the this data user want. They return and they return back to you. Good example, whenever you open the Google browser, right? You ask, hey Google, I want to find out the address of XYZ company, right? So what Google say? Google figure out key, talk to the Google, talk to another software list of companies, which are such company available, right? And getting response and those linked to the share in the response, right? Whenever you just get the response, click here, they diverted to the here again, right? So many times your applications are used by another applications, or many times your application directly used by any human user, right? So this is the channel. Possible two kind of your user. So whatever you are going to talk, whatever you are going to talk, generally used by your another application. This is your application develop. Another application can use this, or another user can use this. Question is that whenever user want to read data, they have a need some very user friendly message so that user can easily understand. For machine also have to need a specific pattern so that they can understand whatever is sending data. So whenever you are building application, you have to think what how kind of response you are giving. In the case of I am asking question in English, you are responding with English, right? The similarly here my application talk to another application, yeah, user talk to another application, what kind of message they transfer, how they can ask question. So here you are using this common pattern is the two format. One is your request can become under JSON format, okay, or HTML format, okay, HTML format or XML format can be, right. So here, whenever one application talk to another other application, they are responding. The responding what the content would be mostly in the form of JSON. Okay, so whenever you are develop one application and this application A and responding, so whenever you are responding to the human user, your response should be the HTML format, HTML format, so that you can easily user can easily understand. If you're responding to the particular software, another package, another application, this application response should be in the JSON format, basically, mostly, or XML format, right? So slowly you have to understand your application response would be possibly JSON or XML format or HTML format. HTML format means human readable format. Notice whenever I am typing google.com, here I am write Java. So this output, whatever you are looking, whatever you are searching here, this is the HTML response format. Means ki human readable format, right? So this is the one format we are responding, and another format is your JSON format or HTML format. That is mostly all the softwares are used to responding to the particular request in the form of your JSON, in the
That
form
is
of your
called, that is like
yes.
a JSON is, that's how they talk to each other, like a
The generally one application talk to another application via JSON or XML.
XML. Okay.
Yeah, XML is a very less familiar, but nowadays JSON is the very popular language, you can say, where one application, yeah, one software talk to another software,
Right.
right? And generally, user, if your applications are directly used by the human user, your response should be HTML format,
Right.
HTML format, so that user can easily read the data carefully, right?
Right.
Your application generally, what we are going to understand, we are going to understand mostly in the JSON response. Okay,
Oh, okay.
okay, because we are building a software responding generally nowadays, all the software responding in the form of the JSON. But if you want, this response can be uh, display in the HTML format. Later part, you can convert this JSON to the HTML format as well, as right, easily. So whenever finally your data is written by the some human user, read by the human user. The human user generally nowadays on the browser, on the Chrome, they need a HTML format.
Right.
So we're not going to understand all the HTML or JSON or XML in this coming section, because these are all independent topics for understanding, right?
Okay. Okay.
But
I see. I see.
right, so slowly we have a times we can discuss all the things, but these are the terminology we are going to talk, why we are getting response in the JSON format or HTML format or JSON format. But we should aware our software, our application are responding in the following content, maybe HTML content or JSON content or XML. The preferable
So,
way,
so
yes.
in the coming classes, in this ecosystem that you discuss, so we're going to discuss about JSON. Um, we're not going to discuss about HTML.
We are not going to discuss of
Yeah.
anything. Just we are just I'm explaining. Whenever you
Yeah.
are getting response, these kind of terminology you can. I'm talking. Maybe you
Oh,
can
okay. Okay.
just
I see what you mean. Okay.
these are the things. Just all these things. Bigger terminology is a response. General terminology as answer. In the real life, I'm saying I'm getting answer. Yeah, I'm asking
Okay.
question. You are getting answer. So
Yeah. Yeah.
whenever go to the deeper, someone asks answer is in which language you are getting. Answer is getting Hindi language, Gujarati language, Marathi language, Russian language, Kannada language, American language, Canadian language, right? So
So
those are the
JSON is a language. Yeah.
JSON is just data representation form.
Mhm.
Whatever the you are getting a response, I can talk in Hindi. Means ki my response go in a Hindi language, my response go in a English language, my response go in a Russian language. So whatever I have a content data which I want to reply you, I can take help of any language to
Right.
reply you.
Right.
Similarly, ask question and server want to respond, he take the help of some language. Means ki they have a content, they have a data which they want to respond, but they want to use some language, maybe JSON language.
Mhm.
This is not language, you can say. This is the data representation form.
Okay. Okay. I understand. Mhm.
The preferable way for if your applications are responding to this direct end user, your preferable choice, your response should be in HTML language, right? If
Right.
your
Right. Because
application,
my user wants to see and understand.
right. If your application response for another application, generally it should be in the JSON format. This is generally
Understood.
commonly, but this is not hard rule.
Right. Right.
Because notice nowadays you are using generally all the server. all the application provider generally used by nowadays from the mobile, right?
Right.
You are individual here. Individual directly not using any of this software, right? These are lots of server software provider, but you are using your mobile, right? Mobile
Right.
to suddenly the mobile is also software. They are calling to this software and getting some data, right? They
Right.
are calling to their data and getting some data. But finally, this software one call to another software, right? So generally, they are using data transferring in the JSON format, right? And now this mobile applications is responding to convert this JSON to the human readable format, HTML format, right? Here, so
Right.
that user can view on your screen. So generally,
Right.
your mobile is kind of your application of software that's are interacting to another software, right? So
Right.
this response generally come in the JSON format. So we are going to build application as a server and client as a your maybe mobile or user anything, but we are preferable. We are going to use the JSON, right? Or HTML or XML anything, right? But lots of terminology. Just I am to explain that this is a very basic. You should aware how it's happening, right?
Right. Right.
Whatever you're going to study, there is nothing direct relation to this concept. But internally, all things happen automatically. Whatever we
Right.
are going to understand, maybe 10 or 20 minutes session. But why I'm explaining all these things, you are understand the basic behind that,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
Good. So here we are now come the topics. Coming some classes, we are going to the build your API. Okay. So question
Hmm.
again, the API.
API.
If you are talking about the maybe REST API, we are generally going to cover about the REST API. So someone say, what is the API?
Hmm.
API full form is application programming interface.
Right.
That means we have a one server, we have a they have a some lots of answer, lots of solution. You as a another software, you just query them, question them, and they respond to you. So this is known as a complete, both in the combined known as a API request response. What's a application programming interface? This is the application and this is the interface. Your service provider, they have an interface. You can just call them questions and they are responding you. Okay. So we are going to understand how we can build this REST API. Means ki service provider. Okay, how we can build first we have an answer and then someone ask you question, right? The first our responsibility, we are going to build one service. That means service have some kind of answer available, right? Someone ask
Hmm.
them, that they reply. So later part, client part, you are going to understand later. First we are going to the build the server, service provider. Means ki service means ki you have some business logic, you have some data so that someone can ask you, right?
Hmm.
So we are going to understand this server side, right? And then later we have to how to communicate to the client side, right? So sometimes like, you have to build a server and one in the build client, and client is communicate by HTTP protocol using the request and the response. It's clear?
Right. Yeah.
Here API is nothing, just combine you can say form of request response. In general terms, I will say ki question answer or thought respective terminology in the software industry ke request response more go inside the specific application wise, so you can say API, application programming interface, right? uh, in more specific we are going to develop REST API. It's clear?
Right.
We started very broader and going to concise and little we are going to understand one specific concept as a REST API, right?
Right.
REST API. Okay. REST question is that what is the REST? Okay. REST means representational state. State means many times whenever we are discussing about the Java object, right? Whenever the Java object, let's say we are creating the employee object one. The employee have a some state like employee name, age, salary, data birth, time. So these value known as a state. So whenever we have object, they have one specific state, right? Means actual value, right?
Right.
Instead of value or data, sometime you say state. In the case of programming language, always say this is the object, and object have some field or attribute. Those attribute value as a considered state, right?
Right.
State. Currently, my name, my age of birth, my times, my date of birth, all are my state. Currently, on which my height, my length, my width, my age is my current state, right? So each object have some current state. Okay, those state considered as a you can data or reply. Someone asks what is your age. So my age is the one of a state I am giving you, right? So here say representational state means ki whatever your state, I am going to represent to the some other person. So here REST API means now we have a server have some data. Okay, they want to reply you. Those data known as a re-state. A state can be represented maybe JSON format, maybe HTML format, maybe XML format. So they are going to just representing your state via the API. API means question answer, request response, yeah, application programming interface, right?
Right.
So REST API means we are just going to develop one kind of applications which are responding some data. Okay, data can be I say I'm say hello. They can say how are you, right? I'm fine. Any words you can reply. Whatever your word reply, that is considered a state or data. In the case of real times, questions and answer. In answer, you are what receiving, what is the content, what is the value you are receiving. That known as your state or data or the value.
Right.
So clear question answer in terminology, right? You are questioning
Right.
something, you are getting it, right? Okay. So while building here, how to build? So as a now come to the actual implementation. Now lots of theory come. Let's how to implement them. So Java C. Java is a programming language, and I am going to build my REST API. So REST
Right.
API and you want to some question answer means request response. A request done by A party, response done by B party. You have understand. So while writing code, how I can write this code software? First things. So we have to follow some certain rule, certain guidance. So those rules are guidance known as your framework. What is framework? Framework. So here we are going to use the terminology framework. Framework, framework, framework for let's key REST API. Okay, framework for anything means ki what the rules are guidance or something available to building the REST API. So we are going to use some frameworks that help us to build this REST API. Why we use REST framework? Because framework already follow some certain rule to communication, right? To state transfer. So framework nothing. Framework is the some set of existing library, existing classes, existing package, and they have defined his rule. How you can use my library? How can you use my software? So framework is you can say a small kind of build infrastructure means simply like I am going to build my house. So we need some kind of architecture, right? Where I can build my house, kitchen, boundary, balcony, stairs, everything, right? So they have already framework means already define some basic building block for you, and on the top of that you can build your REST API. So when
Understand.
we are going to build REST API, we are not going to build each and everything from scratch. No, we are going to use the existing framework that is already basic foundation laid down, right? And using those basic foundation, we can build my application, my building. Let us example. If you are going to basic thing, you are going to make a tea. You are going to make a tea. For making tea, you need some basic ingredient. You need a tea, you need a water, you need a sugar, you need a milk, right? You need a multiple things. So if you are going to the build tea, these things you assume already present in your house, right? And a particular room, right? You are just going and taking this all the ingredient and just making a tea. You are not going to think how I'm going to make a milk, how I'm going to make a sugar, how I'm going to make this. Each and everything you are not going to do from scratch. You are just using the existing ingredient, right? Similarly, in the case of REST API, any web service development, generally we are using some framework. Framework means already basic infrastructure built built by this framework. You just use them, and as per his framework guidance, you write the particular class, you write the particular interface, you write the particular data, and store, save, get, and respond, right? So as a software developer, we have do very little things and already basic infrastructures, basic building block, basic communication things, communication channel, HTTP protocol, request, response, all are the by default placed for by the framework, right? So nowadays, why we are building any application, any software so quick? Because nowadays we are using lots of existing library, existing framework that is already built. It's clear. We are not
Yeah.
going to build each and everything from scratch. Even you are going to start, you cannot survive. Okay, you can think lots of in the real life you are using already ready-made things, right? Already
Right.
built things. Someone built for you, right? Similarly, in the case of your application development, many times you are just going to use the existing framework. So framework clear? Framework means for your requirement already basic building block already placed. You just use them. And on the top of that, you can add your flavor, right? Someone may
Right.
be going to make a pizza. So already pizza base available in the market, right? Just you go and buy, and according to your taste, according to your requirement, you can add in the top of, right? And you can make the
Yeah.
pizza. Similarly here, uh, base framework is already placed. You just add your requirement on the top of that. So whenever we're going to build REST API, generally we are going to use the help of existing framework. So there are lots of framework to building the REST API with the help of Java language. Because we are learning a Java language, the framework for the REST API, this concept is not for just Java language. Be clear, right? This framework for the REST API, you can Google and find out the different language. Language for the Java, language for the Python, language for the Ruby, language for the Kotlin, language, lots of programming language. For each
Same
programming
course. Yeah.
frameworks available to build the REST API. So REST API you can build in different language. So we are learning Java, so we're focusing to learn one language as Java. So we have to figure out which framework available for the Java language, right? Because if you just Google framework for the REST API for building a REST API, right? So lots of huge set of framework you can find. So we have to choose. Oh no, I am interested those framework which are supported by the Java language, right? Because I am a Java
Okay.
developer, so I am looking
Hmm.
for such framework that is the Java base, right?
Right.
It's clear. So in Java, most popularly the framework Java base, Java base most popular framework framework for building REST API is Spring Boot, Spring framework, I can say Spring, right? Spring is the one popular framework, you can say. Spring is a framework, Spring
Hmm.
framework.
Framework.
for uh, building REST API. REST API, or you can say microservice, or you can say web service, multiple terminology you can say, but I just now understand REST API, right? Clear?
Mhm.
Right.
And other application, maybe Quarkus. Quarkus is one of application framework, right? So I'm not going to explore or is application framework for building a same. So lots of framework available for building REST API, or you can say base microservice or web service, whatever is there. To service, okay, okay, microservice, or you can say web
So the
service.
word microservice, is it same like uh, REST API or it means something else?
REST API is a one way to build the microservice
Okay,
or web service. Sometimes a web service. The terminology overall same answer. They are question and answer, right?
right,
Question and response. You can say instead of this, building a REST API or microservice or web service, these are the framework.
so Spring is the framework or uh,
Okay.
Quarkus.
Quarkus. And many more. I'm not going to do. Here you just Google out framework for building the REST API or microservice or web service. All are the same concept, like request and response. You are asking question, they are responding, right?
Right, right, okay. Mhm.
High level, all are the same, but different implementation approach. We'll discuss detailed web service, microservice, REST API. But REST API is the one of way you can build the microservice REST. These are buzzword nowadays. Lots of things are using. So I'm saying don't confuse microservice or web service or REST API. Finally, all are the simple. You ask question and they respond something, right?
Right, right,
This is the basic purpose. Behind the implementation are the different. Like in the case of just my purpose, I want to transport from one place to another place. I need any vehicle. A vehicle can be different. Similarly here, our purpose, I have some question I want to ask. Someone reply me. Someone might be REST API, someone microservice, someone web service, many software, maybe application, lots of terminology you can say, right?
right.
So we are going to time is over, but tomorrow we are going to understand about the Spring is a application framework to explore. And later, some time permit, remember time, we can explore Quarkus, lots of things. I'm not going to cover, but overall, all the frameworks are just helping you to develop these things. Okay, REST API,
Right, right.
microservice, service,
Mhm.
right?
That's the goal. That's the main
Yes, sir.
goal.
So we are in Spring have a specific for building REST API. Lots of things I'm not going to, even we are not going to complete the complete Spring as a framework, but what little bit required to building these specific things we are going to understand, right?
Right.
But later part you can explore them. Okay.
Oh, so it has other things that can be developed, like
Yes.
other
Yes.
in this framework.
Notice this is the application framework. Okay? So in
Mm.
application, lots of things you required. He required the email notification, he required the SMS notification, he required the time,
Right, right,
he required the database transaction, he required the one application to another application, he required the fail safe, he required the security, all the things these frameworks offering. For
right,
application means one application, what kind of things required? So generally, almost major things for your application needed, they already place the basic building block, right? For building any application or for building application, think what are the basic things. So by default, all the applications have a lots of common things for basic thing. Whenever you're building any basic application, they need a basic authentication, authorization, login, logout, security, transaction, database, email message, SMS, communication, request, response, all are the same thing, right? So all are
Right.
basic building block. What the basic code needed, they already placed to you. The framework help us to easily build your software because they are ready-made component for you. Just we are using. So we are going to build application REST API. They're very 5 to 10 to 20 minute just time. Just write the code and your application is running. But
Right.
lots of things behind that, your framework is already done for you.
Right.
Okay. So maybe tomorrow we're going to start actually to uh, understand your about the Spring Boot is the one part. Spring Boot is the one way. Spring Boot is one way to build. Okay, build microservice REST API. Okay,
Mm.
so just we are going to Google and figure out, hey, I need a Spring Boot. So we have to follow the Spring Boot guidelines, rules, regulation. Because any software you are going to use, you have to follow the same signature, protocol, rule they define, right? So we have to go this official website of the Spring Boot and follow the all kind of coding. What the instruction given us, we can just read them and follow them, and you can build them application, right?
Mm.
So this is the very basic website Spring.
Does it need setup in my IntelliJ?
We'll do each and everything on online. Whatever the here already basic things you already have. One maybe good option. Just go to the here learn Spring Boot. Go to the learn Spring Boot, and this is the documentation. Let's say getting started. So let's first building the RESTful web service, right? Here we are going to build RESTful web service. So just click here. So this is the first links, and that's a requirement. What the basic requirement might be? They yes, they need a kind of your ID. Already we have a IntelliJ ID. Java version already we have a JD21. One thing you can maybe download you have the Maven or Gradle. So let's go with the download Maven or your machine, right? It would be start a save your time, right? You can just download Maven, right? And you already have a ID. That's nothing. Just these things required. Your ID and three things. Your ID, Java, and Maven. You have already ID, you have already Java. Just download this Maven. Okay.
Mm.
This is the one software you can now download your local. And tomorrow we're going to complete this line by line steps what required, right? These are the things we are going to do start. Okay, all the things they have. So finally, Spring Boot is not a anything. Just if any framework you are going to the follow, you have to follow the same guidelines what they save us, right? If you similarly I say this is another framework like Quarkus. You can just Google Quarkus is a framework which help us to build the same kind of things, right? Just search Quarkus,
Okay.
and
Okay. Yeah.
Quarkus is the one kind of a Java enable application help us to build the software. So like there are lots of things and some documentation. Just go to learn, all getting started. All have a similar kind of concept. Here notice Spring Boot getting started, and this is the things we have to do, right?
Oh, they have instruction. Everybody has instruction.
Everyone have instruction. This is a good part. Ki everyone are instructions. You want to learn something, build something, and all are the application. That's key guide something. Everything's available here. Maybe here's a community
Mm.
extension, learn. It may be documentation. You can go go documentation and figure out all the documentation. You want to build the REST API, just search here REST, REST, REST. And this is the way
Right.
you can build the how to build the virtual race. This is uh, also REST, REST, REST. Yeah. Using the use the virtual thread in a REST application, right? So you know already we study what is the virtual thread, and we can use the REST API where, right? Uh,
Right.
with this OpenJDP. using AWS Lambda REST API. Lots of way you can explore using the REST API. Lots of they have given option. Just we have to explore them, how to build them. So we have to just follow the instruction what they given us, right?
Right.
So all have options. Just viewing the JSON response services, validating, writing RESTful API. Just click here, and they given the instructions. What are the things you have to do, right?
Right.
So they have to build API. We have to follow this. This is the code they have written. How to write the code. We have to just copy paste and run and add our business. This is an interesting. So details we are going to understand. So surely we are not going to cover Quarkus mostly because I personally I'm using the Quarkus in my application, so I know that this is the things generally most powerly used. Most developer, whatever the developer going to learn microservice, generally they are using the Spring. Okay,
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. I see. I see.
most
But you use Quarkus in your work.
application, yeah, I'm using, but I am not going to talk on that. That's
Right.
where,
Right. No, I understand because you want me to be
yeah,
open,
yeah,
flexible, so that
yeah.
I can.
Whenever in generally whenever building application, most popularly as a any fresher developer going to learn this language like a building RESTful, they are using the Spring, right? Lots of
Mm.
tutorial, lots of YouTube, lots of content available on the internet too. If you're stuck somewhere, the Spring Boot have lots of YouTube channel, video content available, and you can take
Okay.
easy
Okay.
help.
It's
So one thing you have to also remember, whatever the technology you are going to use, let's check the community. Let's check the number of help available, number of guidance available, number of internet tutorial available, right? So Spring
mm,
have a lots of content available on the internet. If you are stuck somewhere, you
but
are getting some error, you can Google them.
in your work you
Mm.
use something that is not common.
That is not more common, yes. Because we are a
Oh,
specific domain application security domain we are working, so we are a specific things we are using. Lots of plus and minus. Is have this also a plus and minus, but I'm not saying this is the better, this is the better. Both are the same thing. You cannot
I
say
see.
कि
I
my
see.
left hand and right hand are the wrong or place. Both are the playing good role, right? You cannot say कि, we have to just follow certain rule. So I
Right.
am
Right.
always favor all the things. Neighbor is bad. These each technology have a different specific use case. We have to understand those.
I understand. Okay. Got it.
So might be a time to explore them, and tomorrow one by one I'm going to read out, and because here till now notice ki whatever the classes we have covered, we are not using any kind of a browser to get help. All of the basic building block as a programming language, I know and explain. And later part, whatever things might we have to just read out from here what they are doing. Same thing we are going to do and practice. And you can
Right.
why I'm going to do so that you also enable you can do yourself in the future any new framework, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Because how to read, how to do setup. Whatever the written in the blog, you have to need to do them. While doing, you are getting lots of challenges, lots of error, lots of problem. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to start the Spring Boot, lots of error, lots of problem you can figure out. And those error we
Right.
have to again Google it. Hey, figure out what the solution. We can
Right.
get them and we can implement them,
Right.
right? So let's slowly both of us going to start and learning this new framework. So this help us, you give a confidence कि, hey, in future anything you can from the internet you can read and explore them. If or something is stuck, what's the approach you follow to fix them, right?
Right.
If let's you tomorrow at least just do bets, download the Maven and you have already IntelliJ JK, and tomorrow we are going to build REST API using the Spring Boot framework.
Great.
Okay, this is
Thank
the
you.
theory for the day.
So
Today,
you want me to try install Maven today?
uh, just download. There is nothing installation. It's a 5 minute, 10 minute times. Okay.
Just download and that's it. Okay.
Question is that why need a Maven?
Yeah.
Question must someone ask you why I need a Maven? You not question ask. You have to ask question ki why need a Maven? I know IntelliJ for writing code. I need a Java for compiling for JDK. Why need a Maven?
Right.
You not ask us question that I'm asking explaining. Why need a Maven? So Maven is the central repository. You can say I say na ki Spring Boot is a framework. Framework means they have already built the basic building block for you. Basic
Right.
required code already built. So those basic building block already code written. So those code from where you found. Question is that this is the official website up here. Here the code written, but they are saying ki maybe here they are saying ki you can use this class, use this class, right? So how
Right.
I'm getting this class? Where I'm getting find all the library which is written already. So this Maven repository, all the public software, all the open source software, if you want to those code jars application are stored in this Maven repository. Maven repository is for available to download existing framework code, existing framework jar file. Like in the case of Java, whenever you say I need a Java, so you need to download Java from the Oracle website, right? Install Java. Similarly, Spring Boot is application. That's where the code you can go. The Spring Boot say you can my all the codes are publicly available from this Maven repository.
Right. Right.
Maven repository, or even say this is another terminology. Say you can use a popularly Gradle repository. So these are two most famously repository available for building a blog. Why
Right.
I'm using Maven? Because previously we are using already Maven. Maven's here for uh, this is notice this is my Maven project and this is the POM file already here. Okay, so this is already we are using Maven, right? So Maven means ki which jar you want we can later discuss. But here let's just understand Maven is the software repository where all
Right.
the existing library available. This is the by Apache. Okay,
Right.
the for download for installation nothing you have to just download. This is also a one software. Just download library and set the path. 2 3 minute works, nothing else. Just go to
Right.
the download and follow the instruction. Just go to the download page and just download the what is the latest version here. And once download done, and you just follow the instructions to set the path. Okay, somewhere once download and release note here the how to waste use. Just say 5 minute test. Okay, download Maven and just go to here. Just you download and verify this mbn web command. Once download install, you can just check your command is working or not, right?
Right.
This is a simple way. This is nothing, just very simple. Okay, why we are sitting so that we whenever we need some jar dependency in future we can just get nothing else. Simple, you download this file. This is simple, nothing. Okay, this is the basic things. Okay, you will do it solve. If any doubt confusion, I'll set you how to set the path, right?
Oh yeah, I may have need help on this.
Okay,
How to set.
just you download this. Whenever you download, it will by default come your zip file. Maybe unzip them and place them. Just here in the case of example, I in this notice my C drives. This is the Apache Maven 349 I have, right? So whenever you download, just unzip them. The unzip, this is the folder you are, right? So now this is my
Right.
folder, and this is the your home path, and this is the bin. So this is the path. You can this is copy the path and just so set the environment variable. Okay, env environment variable. Here go and edit them, and this is the environment variable. Here you have to just notice I have set this path. This is the Maven path. Maven path means just Maven. This is the home directory. This is the you have to set, and cancel. This is the path. The path. This is the path. This is the path variable, and you set this here. This is the one path. Maven slash bin. So this two activity you
Oh,
have to do yesterday, and else I will help. This is the thing. Now your Maven is set, and you can open the command prompt, and you can write just say, hey mvn hyphen v, and you find the
MVN
this is the
dash V.
command. Yes, Maven is installed. Where the directory? C drive. This is the path already. Okay. So this is the basic things for Spring Boot. You just download and set the path. Okay.
Sure.
All the
Well,
steps also available in this Maven. Okay. How to
but
set how to
but
set a
it,
path.
but Maven is inside Apache. Apache is a server.
Apache is not a server. Apache is just company. They have built this.
Okay, okay.
They build them. Just you can download and just set up. Okay.
Right, right, right. Mhm.
Okay. That's very simple. Don't worry. You will do it.
Thank you, Ajay bhai, for the
Okay.
assistance.
And tomorrow we'll start building REST API from Spring Boot. Okay. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. New
Okay.
journey.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.